WSCF Vero Beach, Christian FM.
Vero Nation Network and Christian FM Sports presents Countdown to Kickoff.
Brought to you by Cap's Pizza and Pub.
3, 2, 1.
Get ready for Vero football. Christian FM Sports brings you the insights into the Fighting Indians. Now, the voice of the Fighting Indians, Paul Tipton.
We are live from the Citrus Bowl and Billy Livings Field. It's week 10 of high school football. The Fighting Indians face their district rival, Treasure Coast, for the District 11 championship. Hey, Vero Nation, welcome to Countdown to Kickoff. Wow, it has been a long couple of weeks, and we know not everyone escaped the wrath of Hurricane Milton, but we certainly hope that everyone is doing much better these days. The Fighting Indians have not played a game since that dramatic win over Booker T over 2 weeks ago. So who knows how long it will take to find that rhythm or chemistry we saw back in week 7. The Titans started 0-6 on the season, but have won their last 2 district games to set up a showdown with Vero Beach tonight. And you can sure bet the Titans will bring their energy in what is a must-win for the Titans to have any playoff hopes. We've got an hour before we get to kickoff, and still ahead of us, Gary and I will be back here in just a little bit. We'll talk about what's been going on the last couple of weeks with the Fighting Indians and how we get prepared for our district rival in Treasure Coast. Bobby Paris is here with women of the Fighting Indians. We'll check in on the field with Matt and Derek, and we're going to talk to our head coach, Lenny Jankowski. In fact, he's standing by with Matt Paris to talk about all things Vero Beach football. Matt?
Thanks, Paul. Coach Jay, it's been a few weeks since our last game due to Hurricane Milton and a scheduled bye week. The pictures I saw coming from the Citrus Bowl after Milton made the stadium look more like a lake than a football field. It has to be tough in those times. Not only worrying about Coach,
you don't think anything about it. You know, you've been through that before, and you think, oh, okay, we're under a watch, and then before you knew it, you know, there was one touching down here, one touching down there, and you know the effects it had on all these different neighborhoods and the devastation to all these different small communities and really just up and down our coast, you know, starting from Palm Beach County and all the way through Brevard and up the East Coast and of course our neighborhoods here. And so there was a lot of concern once that started happening, and you lose contact with people and school. Obviously, our school's a shelter, and so we were preparing that Monday for the Rockledge game, and had a very extensive walkthrough, and knowing that we were going to be out of school at that point Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, with a possibility of playing that game on Friday. So that was a lot of unknown there, and then of course as it played out. That game was canceled for obvious reasons, and we started trying to keep track of what was going on with, as you mentioned, our football family, and thank goodness we have no crazy stories or anybody that's been uprooted or anything like that because of the devastation. But we have some people close to us, obviously these neighborhoods here, and we've tried to do our part, because we are a community school, and we're very appreciative of our community that we had an opportunity as a team to help some families with their having to move things into storage and unloading some trucks and doing some things wherever we can, help out. Of course, we're always going to be willing and available to do that. But our kids make us proud in times like that, and their willingness to step up. And obviously we surely appreciate our community and look forward to hopefully using tonight to get everybody out to some normalcy and have a good Friday night, under the lights.
Those are always good stories when the young men get to help out and participate in the community. Coach, the field was a lake. How's the field now?
Oh, yeah, you did mention that. There was a picture that went out, and I had seen it as well. And it's crazy the amount of rain that we got. I mean, just my neighborhood in particular, we couldn't get out of our house for a few hours. Since I've lived there for 14 years, it's never flooded, and And so by the time I was able to check on the stadium and the field, it had already gone down. So I didn't get a chance to be there for that picture, but I did see it, and it was very concerning. But our facility and our field, you guys have been out there on days where it's rained or come down pretty hard. Our field drains great. Compared to what we were used to a few years ago prior to the new surface, it was always a nightmare. And so we're very, very proud to be playing on the field. It's drained. There's no damage, no structural damage, no flood. Rooms, like that. So happy to be where we're at. We had a small, not small. If you ask AJ, our trainer, there's some water that got into our training room. Our trainer, holds all his stuff, but I think we'll get that all out and it's back up and running. So other than that, we're in pretty good shape.
Well, Coach, glad to hear everyone made it through safe. When we come back, we'll get Coach's thoughts on our last win over Booker T. Washington.
Hi, W here from Barker Air Conditioning and Heating, serving the Indian River County area since 1959 and supporting fighting Indian sports for decades. Known for being HVAC specialists for installation and service. Local licensed and Barker's
a little ice on the shoulder. How is he doing? And just give us an update on him.
Yeah, Champ's fully recovered. It was an injury to his non-throwing shoulder, and so we took some precautionary measures there, and he did not finish that game. But he hasn't missed any practice time. He's been good to go, and I would categorize him as 100%.
That's great news for us. Coach, here we are now that we've played teams that are just the top teams in the state. Our offense is going against these guys that lock down corners. What have you seen in the progression of our receivers, particularly against these guys?
Yeah, I mean, pleased, for sure. I mean, obviously you have challenges, you have tests. You get tested throughout your season, whether it be, as you mentioned, through talent, scheme, all of the above. And I think by this time of the year, you hope to have established some depth. First and foremost, we've had a bunch of different guys catch balls throughout the season. But it's also important for our receivers to play well when the ball's not in their hands, whether it be their blocking assignments or having an understanding of what their responsibilities are when the ball's not coming to them. And so I've been pleased with that as well. And sometimes it's a challenge, as receivers. And, I tell our receiving corps all the time, I want guys that want the ball thrown to them every play, but I also want guys playing hard when the ball's not coming their way. And sometimes that's a tough thing to get accomplished. But, I'm pleased with this group. I think we've got some guys that have really bought into that. And I think we're seeing, we're reaping the benefit of that as the season progresses.
Well, that's Coach Shea talking about the win against Booker T. Washington from the offensive side. When we come back, we'll get his thoughts on the defense. You're listening to Countdown to Kickoff on your Christian FM.
Comfort Zone AC and Heating of Vero Beach has been servicing Indian River County for over 40 years, using only certified technicians. As a Christian, family, and veteran-owned and operated business, they offer comprehensive air conditioning, heating, and indoor air quality solutions to their clients. Online at ComfortZoneACNow.com. Proud supporters of the Fighting Indians.
Research shows that with a new roof, a homeowner can save 5 to 35% on their home insurance premium. We thank PDK Roofing, a Christian family that's been helping families and businesses for over 2 decades on the Treasure Coast and all of Florida with their roofing needs. PDK Roofing is licensed and insured, and they stay up to date with what insurance companies require so that their client is protected and providing financing options to get people approved. PDK Roofing, online at pdkroofinginc.com. Fighting Indians football, where they rise above the rest. We thank PDK Roofing, a committed team to do the same. A Christian family that says no job is too big or small for any residential and commercial roofing need. PDK Roofing is licensed and insured, and they stay up to date with what the insurance companies require. PDK Roofing, 772-528-0113.
More Countdown to Kickoff by Caps Pizza and Pub.
Time to talk about your defense, Coach. 3 weeks ago, Booker T. Washington came up from Miami and left with a loss. What were some of the defensive highlights from that game?
Yeah, a lot of things happened in that game, specifically, with the defense, I think some things that really stand out, and like you said, it's been a couple weeks, but from TJ, I think at the linebacker, he was all over the field making plays. I think his play, his value continues to the importance and significance he brings to our team. The obvious is on the field and all that. He's such a leader in the weight room, off the field, and around the campus. But he had a whale of a game. There was a huge big play by our freshman Devin Green on the 82-yard interception return for a touchdown right before halftime. Big play. I think we're getting a lot of guys rotating on that D line. Some names that we talked about that have been prominently offensive linemen. Guys like Romeo Vargas, those guys have gotten opportunities to play on both sides. Of course, Deuce Montgomery's been a guy that has played on both the offense and defensive line. He's been a staple on the D line, but you're seeing guys get healthy again, like Bobby Burbick. Guys are Javon Greer. Those guys are making plays and getting involved. Another guy, Malachi Reed, who had a couple big plays. He was a guy that in the summer was playing safety. We moved him to defensive end, and he's found his little niche there. And so again, a lot of credit to Coach Bethel and our D-line coach that continues to year in and year out find guys and just get the best out of those guys. On the back end, I think we saw some really good play at corner. Obviously, little Latravius Woods keeps playing and doing some big things. So I think all in all, what it comes down to with defense, whenever a defensive coach or a head coach gets excited about defense, it's about team defense, and it's guys out playing together, execute scheme and working through it. And so there's a lot of guys that may not show up on the tackle sheet, but that the reason that those plays are being made is because everybody's doing their part. So all in all, really good play.
Coach, some of those offensive linemen that you mentioned that are now getting a chance on defense, is it hard to get them back on the offensive line after that?
Yeah, well, so we're very, very fortunate because in years past, when they get a little sniff or a little taste of D-line, sometimes you don't ever want to see. They don't ever want to talk about offensive line. They want to go for 79 to number 3. They want a single digit number now, and so but these guys really, we've got a unique group. Obviously when you're talking about guys like Champ Smith, who he loves playing offensive line, and it's such a cool thing. Now he's a really good defensive lineman as well, but he loves playing offensive line. If I told Champ that he wasn't allowed to play offensive line, he would be upset with me, And so those kinds of things. Montgomery, who was a guy that he's in his third year as a starting defensive line, he's really thrived in the opportunity to go back and help out on the O-line. So it's been really cool. Romeo Vargas, when he was a younger player, he came up as a defensive lineman, and he's really thrived as an offensive lineman. So it's kind of cool to see the unselfishness of these players, and that's what an offensive lineman is. He's the most unselfish guy in all of sport.
Most unselfish, yep. Usually they're the smelliest also. Come from a quarterback, they are. But, man, we love those guys protecting us. Well, that's Coach Jay talking about last win against Booker T. Washington weeks ago. When we come back, bringing his thoughts on tonight's game against Treasure Coast.